Whoa. We weren't doing a face reveal in this video. What's going on? Why, what? Oh, it's a Gateron Hippo. Okay, that's great. We're looking at the Gateron Hippos today. Howdy, hey everyone, Hipyo Tech here, and I just smelled a rose and I'm dying of allergies. In this video, guess what? We're checking out the Hippos. Yeah, we did it, boys. We got a Switch. Psych, that's not my Switch. These are a curious little linear coming from Gateron, and guess what? They're the first linear from Gateron with a majority Unlubed Stem. What does that even mean? We'll talk about it later. In this video, I'll be building out my NK65 entry edition with some unlubed Gateron Hippos, and then you know we're gonna be lubing them up, so yeah. Hipyo from the Pink Void to tell you, 74% of you are not subscribed, which is not cash money. Let's get that to 50%. Thank you very much. So before we get into the nitty gritty, let me address the hippo in the room. As I mentioned before, these are not my Switch. I am affiliated with Kinetic Labs, but these are Hippo Switches that were developed independently from me. Therefore, I don't really have a Hippo in this race, so I'm going to be evaluating them as objectively as I can. However, because Kinetic Labs is an affiliate, if you want to purchase these, then please click that link down below and I will receive a kickback for each purchase. Granted, I don't really care what you purchase from Kinetic Labs because all of it would make me a kickback. You don't have to buy these. Hipyo, what's the Switch? What is the Switch? Alright, let's talk about the Switch. Well, hello linear gang. These are Hippo linear switches, aka Gateron Hippos. As I mentioned before, it's the first Gateron Switch to contain a majority Unwipe stem. Now you're probably asking, oh, Hipyo, what's so hype about Unwipe? Oh, nice rap. Well, Unwipe is allegedly a smoother plastic than things like palm or nylon. Theoretically, these are supposed to be really smooth when lubed up, and we'll be putting that to the test for sure. On the topic of lube, however, these come with no factory lubing. This could be a perk if you like to lube switches yourself, but if you're in the boat of wanting a good stock switch, this is not it, and I'd recommend looking elsewhere. The spring is a 63.5 gram with an actuation force of 55 grams. There's no other spring options, so 63.5 is what you get unless you want to spring swap them yourself. It's definitely a fine middle ground, and most people will be pretty happy with it. So is Unwipe hype? Let's get the build going. As I mentioned before, I'll be using the NK65 entry edition. Make sure you check out my full video on this one, as it was a pretty fun build. The stabilizers have been lubed with XHT-BDZ, but they're not the best. I decided to take a look at these switches unlubed first, as I wanted to give them a nice fair shot at being stock. Now, Unwipe is definitely going to be smoother stock than some other options, but whether or not it's a good contender, we'll find out very shortly. But let me just take this moment to say that these switches look very cute. I mean, look at them, they're like little hippos. Look at my children. Anyways, the keycaps, we're using the I Lubed Blue Cat MA profile keycaps. The reason why I did this is so you can go and compare them to my NK65 sound test with the KTT Roses, as I felt like those were a pretty fair contender for the linear spot. Also, they're a cheat code to Thok, so if these switches are going to sound Thocky, they're going to do it with these keycaps. And they're kind of Hipyo colors. I mean, if I could get rid of that escape key, it would be a lot better, but yeah, they're cute. They're very cute. Let me just talk about pricing real fast. These switches cost roughly 50 cents a switch, which puts them a bit more than double a Gateron Yellow. That's a tough price spot to be in. You pay a lot less, you get Gateron Yellows. You pay a little bit more, you get Duroc L series. So I'm gonna give you a rough little 15-second sound test of the before typing, and just stick around through that for more. Oof. So initial thoughts are the smoothness is actually pretty good stock, but the sound, not very good stock. Those stainless steel springs give a lot of spring ping, and you're effectively looking at a pretty plasticky sounding switch before lubing. But when you lube them, are they any good? Ho ho ho, wouldn't you like to know? Stick around. Next, we'll be taking these bad boys apart, and I'm sorry hippos, I'm dissecting you. To keep with the Kinetic Labs theme, I'll be using some Krytox 205G0 that I got from them, and some other Kinetic Labs tools as well. Not the brushes though, their brushes suck. I'm sorry Keybonbon, the brushes suck. Anyways, if you want a mini switch lubing tutorial, it's mini switch lubing tutorial time. Now, don't follow this because I used big brush as I wanted to save a little bit of time. But essentially I get quite a bit of Krytox 205G0 on the brush, and then go 3 strokes on each slider, flip the brush, yeehaw, and then I go around the world after doing the 3 little strokes. I've stopped going in the hole. I think in the hole's kind of pointless. That's my new development. Anyways, lubing this unwiped stem was kind of annoying as it's kind of sus and you can't really see anything that you're putting on there. but I just did my standard stem lubing vibe where I brushed the stem with a lot of different lube all over, hit the legs, etc. And then I repeated that process a good old 68 times. Oof. Pouring out for Hipyo rock climber elbows that have been struggling this week, lubing holy pandas and hippos in the same week. Oh man. So we lubed our hippos. I didn't think I'd ever say that sentence. And we're ready to reassemble them in a board. I thought about spring swapping these, but I'll save that for later. Let me just cast a magic spell real fast and get those in. Oh, nice. Ooh, are these the lubed ones or the unlubed ones? And I'm just reusing footage. You don't know. You don't know, do you? Ooh. Okay, I'm just teasing. Let's get those keycaps on. And a little bit of magic. Boom. So the build is complete. And essentially, it's not that expensive of a build. I think it definitely comes in at under $200, which is a pretty good value. And the Gateron Hippos kind of slot into that interesting little mid-range. But let's compare them with some other switches in a manner that makes absolutely no sense and is kind of just objectively bad. But you guys asked for this, so here you go. Instead of having a good test like this E-key test, shout out Shoobs, I love you Shoobs, wherever you are, I'm just gonna be laying them all out in a line, and this won't give you too good of an idea, but you know, it's kind of helpful. These are all lubed, and from left to right, we have hippos, tangerines, Duroc L2s, matchas, KTT roses, Gateron milky yellows, and Gateron reds. These are just some of the common linears that I had laying around and lubed. So, comparing all those switches, I have a lot of interesting thoughts. Now, just know that I did compare some of these off camera, and a lot of my comparisons were done in hand, just switch and switch. I would say fully lubed up, the closest similarity to these would be the tangerines. Now, I'd reckon these won't sound like the tangerines, but strictly in feel, they feel almost identical lubed up. And honestly, they feel like any good linear that's been lubed up. The sound profile is distinctly clacky, and it felt very similar to the Gateron Milky Yellow, albeit a slight amount smoother. So I'd say an overall review would be these are better Gateron Milky Yellows, and potentially a cheaper tangerine that's actually in stock. Also, fully lubed, it's a relatively quiet switch. I put it in a couple different boards and compared it against a couple different things, and it was just overall a tinge quieter. This could maybe be due to the Unlubed Stem or something, but I'm not a materials scientist, I'm just a guy that likes keyboards. So, what are my impressions? Does Hipyo like the Hippo switches? Yeah, that's probably what you're wondering. And I would say, sure. Will I daily drive these? Maybe if I spring swap them to a little bit of a lighter spring? Potentially. The smoothness is there, the sound profile's there, and overall, it's not a bad switch. If you're in the market for a mid-range switch that looks really cute, it's kinda hard to go wrong with these. Like, seriously. I'll be leaving you guys with a sound test. Please watch the whole thing to support my YouTube algorithm overlords. Please. If you like this video, make sure you leave a sound test of your own in the comments. That's a comment, by the way. And leave a like and hit subscribe. A special thank you to The Mr. Man, Platty Platt, Cool Keys, Josh C, Curb Board, and Aquarius for being members of the Hipyo's Chosen tier. We just hit 100 members, baby, and on my next stream, I'm lubing a switch with butter. I'm sorry, it was a bet, I'm sorry. If you want to join these awesome lads, then please click that join button down below. Bye!